Okay, so now that the mortise is cut, we're going to add a little detail here that is not in your lab manuals, but you will see it frequently in timber frames. So if we just went ahead and attached our crossbeam here, the crossbeam would be totally reliant, all the weight would be bearing on the tenon. So what we're in fact going to do is we're going to create a small ledge for the bottom of the beam to sit on, so then the load is actually bearing on the column and not totally reliant on the tenon for the crossbeam. So if you see here, I've gone ahead and laid it out. So this up this way is the top of the column. So what I'm doing is we're going to make an angled cut here. This is top of crossbeam, this is bottom of crossbeam. And what I'm doing is I'm coming in 1 inch, okay, and we're going to take all this material out. All this material here is going to go away. And what that's going to do is we'll cut this same angle on the end of our crossbeam, so then it matches up and then everything sits nice and square and tight. But what this is going to do is it's creating a little bearing ledge, so then that way we're not totally reliant on the weight of the structure coming down on a tenon. We want it to transfer to the column. When it comes down to timber frame and the way all these components come together, it's all about transferring the load from the top of the building all the way through, then down the column to the foundation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this over. I'll show you how I laid out for our bearing ledge on this side. So here's the bottom of our crossbeam. Here's the top. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I have my combination square here. I've gone ahead and set it to 1 inch. So I'm going to come right along here. So there's the bottom of my bearing ledge. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this straight edge, I'm going to put it at an angle, so that way it runs from that bearing ledge back to the top of the crossbeam. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all this material out, and that's going to create my ledge. I'm going to make my initial cut here with the circular saw, which I have set to 1 inch deep. Now, what I'm going to do is, starting up here, I'm going to slowly take material out with the chisel, and this is where the bevel of the chisel comes in handy, like we were talking earlier. I'm going to slowly take this material out so it's all smooth all the way down. When you're using a chisel, the bevel of the chisel, in this case, is going to face down, because what's going to happen there is the higher I lift the chisel, the more material it's going to take out. The more I drop the chisel, it's going to ride up out of the material. So using my marks as a reference, I'm just going to keep working my way down to that line. So I'm going to keep working away at this until I hit that reference line on both sides, and it'll be one continuous plane, one nice smooth face around the mortise, giving us that nice bearing ledge. I'll come back when that's done.